Good afternoon, and welcome to the Landmarks Conservancy's 31st Annual Chairman's Award. I'm Peg Breen, President of the New York Landmarks Conservancy. The award was inaugurated to recognize individuals, organizations, and businesses who honor New York's architectural heritage and recognize the important role preservation plays in our city's economy, identity, and quality of life. Today's honorees do just that, and we'll meet them a bit later. The Conservancy celebrated our 50th anniversary last year, and here's a brief look at how we work to preserve the city we love. The Landmarks Conservancy has preserved and protected New York for more than 50 years. We've loaned and granted more than $62 million through the years, contributing to more than $900 million in total restoration projects. We've worked on major emergencies. Our grants and technical assistance helped buildings in Lower Manhattan damaged on 9/11. We saved the survivor staircase at Ground Zero. It's now featured in the 9/11 Museum. After earlier superstorms, our emergency grants helped nonprofits repair damage and reopen. But much of our work is assisting New York's diverse communities. Our Sacred Sites grants help religious institutions of all denominations, many in underserved communities, with everything from conditions assessments to repairing roofs. We worked with Mother AME Zion Church in Harlem on a major roof repair.
I am theologically and seminary trained. I know nothing about building repair, but thankfully the Conservancy knows the people, put us in contact with the people to do what needed to be done here, and we could not have done that alone.
Our loans are helping homeowners throughout the boroughs repair their buildings' exteriors. Callie Janoff received a loan for work on her Brooklyn brownstone several years ago. She's been a friend and proponent ever since.
You know, being a landlord in New York City is not for the faint of heart. Being a homeowner in New York City is also not for the faint of heart. And so it's really incredibly difficult to find people to trust.
Janoff learned she could trust the Conservancy after our staff helped repair her stairs, restore the entryway, and even obtain a state homeowner tax credit for the work.
I loved working with the team, and we had such an incredible experience. It's like finding gold.
Landmarks are important to communities throughout the city. Historic districts are drawing cards for tech companies, women and minority-owned businesses. They attract residents and tourists alike. Even as the retail picture changes, these historic areas will be economic drivers. The city's landmarks anchor us, reminding us that New York has come through difficult times before. We're proud to be the New York Landmarks Conservancy, and we'll continue to preserve the city we love. Thank you. And now, because it's our chairman's lunch, our chairman, Lloyd Zuckerberg, will offer some words of welcome.
Thank you, Peg. Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm Lloyd Zuckerberg, and it is my great honor to once again chair the board of the New York Landmarks Conservancy. Being part of this organization has allowed me to do some of the most meaningful work that I've ever done, to be at the forefront of promoting, protecting, and enhancing the historic fabric of one of the world's great cities, alongside a wonderful board and a superb staff, is immensely gratifying. The Conservancy's mission is to promote preservation, not to prevent development. If you look around New York objectively, you will see how compatible preservation and growth truly are. And that is in part due to our advocacy, our technical support for owners of landmark buildings, and our extensive grants programs. We're celebrating this year our 51st year, and we want to use this opportunity to highlight the critical role of preservation in making New York City special. Today's honorees do exactly that. I now pleased to reintroduce Peg Breen. Thank you.
Our first honoree is the Venerable Fifth Avenue Association. on the 200th anniversary of Fifth Avenue, very appropriately.
We believe it's the most iconic street in the world.
Madeline Wills is interim president of the Fifth Avenue Association. It was formed in 1907 as Fifth Avenue sought to manage a mix of homes, offices, high-end stores, and even then, traffic. Traffic is still a problem. The focus today is on the avenue's large pedestrian traffic. The association has been part of the city's New New York focus. It's working to make it easier and more enjoyable to stroll the avenue.
And the urgency of this is twofold. One is we need to get people back into the offices, and we need to make Fifth Avenue a place they want to come back to the office. So if people feel that the streets are too congested and that it's too hectic of a place, they won't want to come back to the offices. So we need to increase the level of beautification to make it easier for people to get here, make this a street they want to live on, work on, and shop on.
Wills notes that Fifth Avenue's success is important to the entire city.
And of course, what drives everything on Fifth Avenue and for the city of New York is the retail, where they get their highest taxes.
One of the avenue's distinctions is its historic architecture. The association's area, from 46th Street to Central Park, and 59th from Park to Madison, holds 19 landmarks, from famous stores and shops to important religious buildings.
I don't think Fifth Avenue would be what it is without the landmark buildings. In order for New York to continue to be New York, it has to recognize its specialities. But we must also celebrate the very special places that are our New York and what makes us different. And what makes us different is our history. And our history is part of our future.
And accepting for the association is their interim president, Madeline Wills.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Fifth Avenue Association, our chair, Ed Hogan, and our board, some who are here today, thank you, New York Landmarks Conservancy, under the leadership of Peg Breen, for this honor. The Fifth Avenue Association was founded in 1907 by the families of the Gilded Age, the Carnegies, the Guggenheims, and the Astors, amongst others. Although titans of industry, they believed the mission of the organization was to promote art, architecture, and commerce, simultaneously living side by side. The Fifth Avenue Association's initial aims were to safeguard the avenue and elevate the design standards and beauty similar to our goals today by clearing sidewalk obstructions, removing projecting signs, increasing police protection, and barring peddlers. The association not only improved the street, but also the safety and desirability of the surrounding neighborhood. It's very interesting that today we have some of the very same goals. Recognizing the importance of the complementary relationship between art and industry, the association encouraged architectural harmony and presented annual awards. At present, Fifth Avenue is home to 19+ designated landmarks in the span of about 12 blocks, from 48th to 60th Streets. Part of what makes this area such an iconic destination for New Yorkers and visitors alike. Several of our association members joining us today represent New York's most recognizable buildings and institutions: St. Patrick's Cathedral, Bergdorf Goodman, the St. Regis Hotel, and the University Club. To each of you and to all of our association members, we thank you for your partnership in making the intersection of art, architecture, and commerce the best it can be. The New York Landmarks Conservancy and the Fifth Avenue Association share the purpose of promoting the unique heritage and character of our beloved city. Just as support for our city's historic buildings are entwined in the association's history, in 2024, we continue to advance the Future of Fifth Avenue project and how a more beautiful landscape for Fifth Avenue will support both our history and our future for generations to come. Thank you again to Peg Breen and the Landmarks Conservancy for recognizing the Fifth Avenue Association with this esteemed Chairman's Award. We thank you, Chairman, and we are honored to accept and to be your colleagues in cultivating what makes our city special. Thank you.
And our next honorees are Wisjani Eltzner Associates. Michelle Dahlhoff is Senior Associate and Unit Manager for the New York office of Wisjani Eltzner, an international interdisciplinary company with 30 offices worldwide.
I think so much of our built environment and what WJE is structured to do is we're problem solvers. They started as more forensic engineering, but solving problems in our built world.
The New York office has worked on a range of important projects, including landmarks like the Metropolitan Museum, Museum of Natural History, the New York Life Building, and the New York Public Library.
So we're really happy to engage in the fabric of New York City.
In addition to the skill sets in the New York office, the firm has a central conservation lab in Illinois to aid their work.
We're lucky to have them on speed dial to work together, and they very much understand the type of work we do and have wonderful resources and reference points from other projects so we can work collaboratively to solve problems.
Architect Matthew Haberling has worked on a number of prominent landmarks, but he says success often means the work isn't obvious.
After the building is restored properly, passers-by should be able to look at the building and not even know that it was repaired, but appreciate the fact that the element is there for them to appreciate.
There was an exception to that after conservator Kyle Normandin finished work on the famous lions at the New York Public Library.
Well, it was the first time I ever saw the lions look pink for the Tuckahoe marble that they are. They had always looked a little bit on the side of limestone, a little bit soiled, but it was really fantastic to see the color of the stone emerge through that process.
Though a dedicated preservationist, Normandin appreciates the WJE works on a wide range of the city's building types and ages.
We really look at all the lessons learned in terms of how we might approach something from the early 20th century all the way to the end. That's very challenging, and it's also very exciting at the same time.
WJE also offers a wide range of colleagues who can lend their expertise.
There's a great collaborative effort within WJE that allows us to expand our expertise pretty far and broadly across the architectural world.
Haberling also appreciates his colleagues' range of skills, but says preservation architects have a special duty.
Landmark buildings are important to preserve because they are a window into our past. If we don't have that, if we only have it in books, if we only have it in drawings, we lose that ephemeral touch that we really need to have with buildings. And I think as preservationists, we are kind of the stewards of that type of a relationship.
Michelle Dahlhoff is accepting for WJE.
Thank you, Peg, and thank you to the Landmarks Conservancy for this honor. Thank you also to all of your advocacy and your efforts to retain and restore this city. We are very lucky to be in the great company of prior and current honorees. Congratulations to those here from the Fifth Avenue Association and the Woodlawn Cemetery and Conservancy. WJE was originally founded in 1956 and opened its New York office in 1998. Over the past 26 years, we have been lucky to work with and collaborate with a wide variety of amazing clients and professionals on some of the most unique and iconic buildings in New York. A special thank you to those who have joined us today from Carnegie Hall, the Center at West Park, New York Life, and New York Public Library, amongst others in this room we've been lucky enough to collaborate with. We have a passion for not only working on buildings in the built environment, but understanding construction, methods, materials, contributions to distress, and strategies for long-term performance. Thank you again for this great honor.
And our final honoree, Woodlawn Cemetery and Conservancy.
Woodlawn has the largest and greatest collection of funerary art in the United States. We are indeed the hidden gem.
Woodlawn Cemetery was founded in 1863. Its 400 acres contain grand mausoleums designed by McKim, and White, John Russell Pope, and other leading architects of the day. There's historic landscaping by Beatrix Potter and the Olmsted brothers, and 6,000 trees. It is a National Historic Landmark. Christopher Giannopoulos heads both the cemetery and Woodlawn's Conservancy. He's tasked with maintaining the extraordinary buildings and grounds. The Conservancy hosts tours and cultural programs, but they emphasize education. Recently, curators from the Metropolitan Museum led the largest survey of historic stained glass in the country.
Stained glass is an art that is disappearing, and that scholarship will inspire the next generation to take up the mantle of craftsmanship.
Educating the next generation of preservation professionals is a major emphasis. The Conservancy has training programs with Columbia University and Bronx International High School.
Well, we call this an outdoor learning lab. It's a place where people rest, but there's a lot of life here.
Jonathan Clementi worked at Woodlawn while a student at Columbia. Now, he helps train others.
I'm the program manager of Bridge to Crafts Careers. I help train the students in historic preservation in multiple programs, including preservation, masonry, bronze, community restoration, and landscape restoration.
Along with Woodlawn's educational emphasis, Giannopoulos says there is an important reason to care for the tombs of the rich and famous.
People should care about the tombstones of the rich and famous as much as they should care about historic preservation. Historic preservation tells the story of who we are as a people. It tells the story of our culture, our values, of the craftsmen that created these buildings. The monumentation that we see here is reflective not just of that story and that history, but it's very much autobiographical of people who have shaped the history of the United States through their prominence. Knowing where we come from certainly leads us on the path of where we want to go.
Christopher Giannopoulos from Woodlawn.
Thank you. I was born and raised in New York, and I want to thank the Conservancy for all that they do in preserving this great city that we all love. The Conservancy's recognition of Woodlawn for the Chairman's Award is a great honor and an acknowledgement of Woodlawn Cemetery's commitment to protecting New York's architectural legacy. When I met Peg, she asked a very simple question, which I still think about. What makes Woodlawn special? Initially, I thought about the 320,000 individuals that are interred at Woodlawn, all of whom have contributed to the fabric of our shared culture. Many are well known to you, from the Gilded Age, those who were initial members of the Metropolitan Club that we sit here right now, to the Harlem Renaissance. There are over 113,000 monuments and 1,300 private mausolea. In creating these monuments and mausoleums, they commissioned the finest architects of the day, from Renwick to Pope to Hastings and Carrere, McKim, and White. Even Sir Edwin Luton's work is at Woodlawn. The most creative and enduring landscape designers beautified their lots. The finest craftsmen were employed to memorialize. Gustavino ceilings, I think we have 13 of them. Stained glass from Tiffany. These memorials contributed to Woodlawn receiving National Landmark status in 2011 and being recognized by the National Parks Department as having the largest and finest collection of funerary art in the United States. Back to Mrs. Breen's question, what makes Woodlawn special? And I'd like to say Woodlawn, the entity, Woodlawn Conservancy, it's the inventive way in which we have found solutions for caring and preserving these monuments and landscapes. In 2016, Frank Sanchez, when I was at World Monuments Fund, he was looking for a solution to the dearth of craftsmen who care for historic properties. In discussing that with our Director of Historic Preservation, Susan Olson, she needed a way to care for these treasures. And after, as I've been told, quite a few Manhattans, they came up with the idea of turning a cemetery into an outdoor learning lab to train the next generation of preservation craftsmen while caring for these important New York treasures. I want to interject by thanking Woodlawn's and World Monuments Fund's boards, as well as Bonnie Burnham, for allowing this venture to move forward, which has become a great success. And I'd also like to thank the donors that believed in their vision. They created a workforce development program called Bridge to Crafts Careers, taking underprivileged New York City youth and giving them immersive learning about masonry preservation while cleaning and pointing the mausoleums. The goal of the Masonry Preservation Program is to provide masonry interns with the life skills necessary to obtain jobs in construction, tile setting, masonry careers upon the completion of that 10-week program. Since 2016, over 100 individuals have graduated and started work in the trades. Again, I want to thank the New York Landmarks Conservancy for their recognition of Woodlawn and our commitment for sharing and protecting New York's architectural legacy. Thank you again.
And thank you all so much for coming. The orchids are yours, so fight over them, get them, and enjoy them. And thank you again. We really appreciate your support.